good.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next one of our tier list for the scenarios of Arkham Horror, the card game. Last one, the first one, which I hopefully will remember to put a link to in the comments down below, was my tier list. But today, you guys have requested tier list for Travis and Bryn, and they will be coming, starting with Bryn's tier list. It is just Bryn and I here. I am going to not influence. I'm not here to help him convince in certain ways. I'm like, but Bryn, I gave that one an A rank. I'm just here to help facilitate conversation. Because I don't know how if Travis and Bryn talk to themselves a lot. I'm quite competent at talking just by myself. So I didn't want to put that on them, so I'm here to just be their host. Bryn, why don't we just dive right in? We're just going to go in order. With The Gathering, the first scenario in the game.
So The Gathering, I would probably put somewhere near the top of B tier, I think.
Of D tier?
Like, I think, B tier.
Ooh.
I think that one's, like, it's pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not super exciting or anything, but for what it is, it's pretty solid.
Sick. I'm excited for your tier list, because I think you're going to have some really, like, strange ones on this. I don't know, I feel it in my bones. I don't think it's going to be a conventional tier list.
That's fair.
We hop on to Midnight Masks next.
The Midnight Masks I'd probably put near the top of A+, bottom of S tier. Someplace in there, I think.
Sweet.
That one is very solid. Probably one of the better standalone scenarios that isn't actually a standalone scenario.
Yeah. It's still my favorite one to play standalone, even a bit more than some of the others that we had on our list. What's the best you've ever gotten in Midnight Masks? Have you gotten all 6?
I have gotten all 6 one time. I was playing like solo with Yorick.
Okay, yeah.
And the upgraded newspaper is like a little bit busted there.
Oh, that seems really good in that scenario.
There aren't like a whole ton of locations that have that many clues on them, but
yeah,
you're out of clues all the time.
Yeah. Sick. All right, let's go on to the Devourer below next.
This one can be my first. Well, we're gonna put it in the D tier.
Okay.
This one's like,
yeah.
There's a lot of things I don't like about this one, and chief among them is that the best strategy to try to beat it is not to play the scenario at all.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Simply to sit in the beginning location and gear up and wait. That I do not like. I also think this one's like a little bit stupid hard.
Yeah, it is.
Just like a little bit.
It feels like, because you and I, we've been playing Lord of the Rings here, and it kind of follows a similar path of the core set for Lord of the Rings, where Escape from Dol Guldur is just like punches you in the face. But you actually have more control in Lord of the Rings, which is kind of strange, right? Like, you're not going to go to, you lose a random person, but you're not going to go to a location that you're like, oh, this location does nothing, right? Or like, It's just one of those ones where the Devourer below can slip away from you incredibly quickly.
Yeah, sometimes just moving out of that. It's also about 1,000 times harder when you don't read that the woods location, the core one, is connected to every other woods location in the game.
Didn't it take us...
It took us probably like, what, a year and a half to figure that out?
I think it was actually when we were playing The Witching Hour in... it was a long time.
So that slightly colors my opinion of this, but even so, this one is still hard to the point of not being fun.
Yeah, definitely.
With a way to cheese it out. So.
Yeah. And I also know, I remember this, maybe it's changed since then, but I also remember you weren't a big fan of the Lita ending, right?
Oh, yeah, no, the first time that we played this, Travis was mad at me for like probably a week because I refused to throw Lita at Ermordoth because I was like, is this really winning? We're just giving him everything he wants and being like, please don't hit me more.
Yeah. But he still hits you. It provokes attacks of opportunity, which...
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Dunwich Legacy. We're on to extracurricular activity. I kind of just looked at these ones, both playing them first and like second. Kind of just like them as a whole, right? So, how do you feel about extracurricular activity?
Extracurricular activity is like it's nothing special. I would put that one like maybe top of C, bottom of B.
Cool.
It's got little to recommend it, but I don't really have anything that I particularly don't like about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the multiple paths that you can take to deal with the scenario are kind of neat and pretty well done.
Mm-hmm.
But it is one of the scenarios that I just play because it is there.
Yeah.
Like it's somewhere in the. It's not one of the ones that I want to play the campaign.
Do you always play it second?
Usually I have not played this one very often without you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because my family didn't like it the first time through, so I'm not sure that we're going back.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Although going back, it does fix a lot of the things that are stupid.
Yeah, it does get better. I remember the Return to Dunwich was pretty nice.
Yeah. Also, I do want to try playing House Always Wins first because it's the way that you get to put Naomi O'Banion in your deck, and
Yes.
she is really good.
Yeah.
But you also don't get her until the end, which I kind of hate.
Yeah. So how about the House Always Wins?
I'd put this one's lower than extracurricular activity to me.
Cool.
Like it's cool that it's got something different going for it. But walking into it, there's usually somebody on your team who's like, "Oh, so my cards just don't do anything."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yes, that is the majority of the scenario. We are not investigating. We're gambling with money."
Mm-hmm. And then like. For me, this one was a bit higher because like the flavor, I really like the flavor of it, but like sometimes when you're just gambling, you're like, oh my god. And then you do this one second and there's so much pressure. You can't waste any actions if you do this one second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty okay scenario.
Yeah.
I do like them as a pair because they give you a lot of replayability out of the first box. The deluxe box.
Definitely. Yeah. All right.
Which is cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Miskatonic Museum, what do you think of this guy?
Oh, man. So I love this scenario, but I also hate it at the same time.
Okay, all right.
The parts that I love about it are the parts where you're running around with the Benny Hill music playing, everyone's running out of doors and back and forth, and hunting horror is running through different doors, but sometimes he runs out of the same door as you, and then you stop and look at each other, and you're like, wait,
uh-oh,
that's not right. It's got a pretty neat Scooby-Doo kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. However, like the House Always Wins, there is almost always someone on your team who's like, my cards don't do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, you could kill the hunting horror over and over again, but if you do, we will die.
Yeah, you don't want that.
So don't do that, please. So yeah, I think like overall, this one probably is somewhere in the C tier as well. Probably like at the bottom of it.
Sure.
It's probably like borderline between C and D for me.
Cool. What about the Essex County Express?
If you'd asked me when this one came out, this one would have been S tier.
Yeah.
These days, I'd probably put it somewhere in the A tier, particularly when considering like the Return to box.
Yes.
I think it gets much better than it is without it. This one does have the downside of like you can lose the game in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You can actually, I believe, lose on the first turn if you're unlucky enough. And there is literally nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Well, figuratively nothing. I mean, I guess like playing Ward of Protection doesn't really count.
Yeah. All right, let's go Blood on the Altar.
I do really like this one. I think this one has an amazing feel of being indulged to it.
Yeah.
It is a little RNG dependent, which I dislike. But I think on its theme alone, this one probably makes it into the A tier.
Sweet. Do you like it more or less than Essex County Express?
You know, they both have kind of the same thing going on that I don't like, where sometimes the game is just bad for you,
Yeah.
and you don't get to do a whole lot about it. So I think they're very close to the same. They both have a really neat feel to them,
Mm-hmm.
and just sometimes you lost, and it wasn't your fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was
Well-
nothing you could have done better, but you lose anyway.
We'll keep them in a scenario order then, just because if they're that
Yeah,
close.
yeah.
Undimensioned and unseen.
Oh. With return two boxes, I probably put this one near the top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Without them, this is probably like higher than the devourer below, but it's in D tier if we're talking about just like the standard encounter.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
Like-
roughly what this is. Like,
Yeah,
there's some influence from the return to, but this is just the package itself.
right on. Yeah. Okay. Without the return to pack, there are no other. Okay. Well, Heart of the Elders, I guess, but there's not many scenarios that I've spent as much time and
Playing.
enjoyed less.
Yeah, yeah.
Like towards the end, it's just like, okay, but like we could just leave now, or hang out and hope they don't move into the wrong places.
Yeah. And like it's not even one of those scenarios where you get like a lot of bang for your buck in terms of time because you're basically just doing the same thing for the full 2 hours, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is also like, I mean, less than the Miskatonic Museum. You know, your fighter probably shows up and they're like, so what do I get to do? And you're like, I don't know, maybe there's a bird you can shoot with a gun.
Yeah, wait for the bird.
Yeah, like that would be cool. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this one base set is it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's just it's
Yeah.
lacking. Where Doom awaits.
This one is like utterly unremarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not as bad as the stuff in D tier, like the stuff I don't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
This one I enjoy much more when Travis has to do setup
Yeah.
than when I do. But I feel like this one, there's too many cards in the encounter deck, and it doesn't really have any sort of a cohesive theme that's going to try to attack you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you draw cards and you're like, this doesn't do anything, but sometimes you draw them and you draw all three, and you're like, I can't win.
It kind of feels like a clip show for the Dunwich Legacy,
Yeah,
right? It's like here's everything we've seen so far mashed together in one.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Plus, without the return to boxes, sometimes you're just hooped
Yeah, yeah.
because you can't use special investigate actions that you may have been relying
Yeah, relying on
in order for your team to be functional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't use Duke to investigate to get new locations. You have to use your basic your book score. That's all you get.
And then you're
You
just
can't use like lockpicks. You can't do anything.
yeah, and you're like, I guess I'm done.
Yeah. So sometimes you're just like base of the hill. Maybe if we die here, but not bad enough, we'll get to move on to the next scenario.
Lost in Time and Space.
Yeah, this one's sweet. I probably put this one in A+ tier. I quite enjoy this fight, and the entire like jumping through space and the weird way that the map is built.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I dislike the concept that you could defeat Yog-Sothoth with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't seem right to me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I understand for gameplay reasons why you can.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very hard, but it's still doable, and it's still
Yeah, like
just...
I mean, you don't even kill him. So, like, I guess there is that. It's just like, I'll try again later.
But that's the one thing, because like Lost in Time and Space and Before the Black Throne are kind of like very similar, and I think it nails that like you can't fight Azathoth. Where I think if Lost in Time and Space was made today, you couldn't actually fight Yog-Sothoth. It would be something else from their pool of design choices.
Yeah, like, I mean, I get why it is the way it is. It was fairly like this is how the other campaign that existed.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Do you like it more or less than Midnight Masks?
Probably a little less.
Cool. Cool.
Like the Midnight Masks, I mean, like I play that one all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent replay.
Well, maybe not all the time, but if I want to test out a concept or see if the cards I've chosen are complete garbage, that's where I go.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Path to Carcosa, starting with Curtain Call or the dreaded return of Big Butt Baby.
Man, so Curtain Call, while reading the setup guide, was like pretty high tier.
Mm-hmm.
There were like all kinds of mentions of specific indicators, but it turns out they don't do.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. That being said, I kind of like this one.
Yeah.
It does like even if the different endings are all the same,
mm-hmm.
Which again, spoiler alert, they kind of are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I also should say right now, if you're watching this, spoiler city. This is a spoiler zone. So
yeah, I'm going to be talking about what happens in some of what happens in the scenarios. I'm not going to tell you how I feel about them without that.
Yeah.
Without saying things like that. But anyway, I think this one's like probably high B, low A tier maybe.
Cool.
We'll put it in B for Big Butt Baby.
Oh yeah, I think actually that's exactly what I said, to be honest.
Yeah.
The Last King. The dinner party.
This one's really cool. It's just like so wildly different
mm-hmm.
to anything that had existed prior, really, where like you're not really investigating and you don't really need to fight things until you do.
Yeah.
I probably put this one up like top of A. I think it's also got Resident Evil Lady in it.
Yeah. Totally
and without the, I do love without the return to. You show up and the hostess is monopolizing someone's attention, and it's like you show up and you hit her in the back of the head with a bat, and you're like, no, you're talking.
Yeah, you can just break it a bit.
Yeah.
I think this one as well really fixes a lot of what the Dunwich Legacy had as a problem, where in The Last King, your fighter is probably going to be busy the entire time, even if they're like they don't interact with anybody.
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like you really need to.
Mm-hmm.
But like roaches are annoying, and you spend the first like half of your scenario just cleaning stupid messes.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of it, it's like, what do you mean this guy's a werewolf?
Yeah. You mean I have to kill another one? Unless it's Tony Morgan, it's hard. Tony Morgan kills so many of them. Echoes of the Past. Whack-a-mole in the Historical Society.
So, yeah. I do enjoy the feel of this one,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
where you haven't just showed up to like beat the piss out of the cult. You're like racing against them to find information, but also if maybe their fingers get broken somehow, they're going to have a harder time with it. That being said, this one is like very hard. Right at the beginning.
Yes.
It's sort of dials back a little bit into the middle and end, but I'd probably put this one like low B tier. Like it's cool and all.
Mm-hmm. All right, this one I'm very excited for, Bryn. The Bryn special, the Unspeakable Oath, the man who's been locked in this asylum more than Travis and I combined.
Oh man, let's put this one up in the S tier. This one's sick. No, like even though I have 50 of, so this one, if you die, you don't leave the asylum ever, and you even get a special bit of text to read that nobody else gets to read.
Yeah.
About getting lobotomized.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this one's really cool. Like, you get locked in an asylum. At the beginning, there's just normal crazy people there.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe there are other things there too. Maybe you're crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Either one of these things is equally possible.
This one, I think, is also one of the only scenarios in the game that actually gets more tense on replays because you know what's waiting for you. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what happens if you don't get it.
Yeah.
I definitely have changed the way that I build decks, largely based on this scenario. Where like, extra movement effects are a higher priority.
Yeah.
And as are cards like I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Right. Normally, like before this, I looked at that card and I was like, this is garbage. But after I got stuck in the asylum, I was like, this garbage, just put me out of there for free.
Yeah. It's actually kind of similar with me. Now that I'm out of here has actually just replaced manual dexterity in the majority of my decks.
Yeah.
Because I value the panic button over drawing a card.
Yeah, there are some scenarios where they're like, now you got to go all the way back out.
Yep. And you're like, nope.
Yeah, I'm just gone now.
All right, Phantom of Truth. This is the one with the organist.
This one is also really. This one's probably like A+, top of A+ for me, I think. This has some of my favorites. I think the Biakis belong to this one, where they're like really tough to fight.
Yes.
But if you evade them, they're not.
Yep.
And there's like an inverted set as well, but one of them is just a normal to counter set, where like they're really hard to evade, but if they've taken damage, I think they're like easy to get away from or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this one's really neat. It takes the whole concept of the game and like either you can be playing a normal one, depending on your conviction or doubt, or you can be playing the game like backwards.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. The first time I played through this one with my family, one of them had a blood pact.
Oh no!
And they were like, Doom can't advance the thing. I'll use this for every... It's just like, oh god.
You're like, oh no.
Yeah, they ended up with like 32 Doom, and I was like, okay, but...
Yeah. This is going to be a long night.
We're going to need you to die or resign.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. The Pallid Mask, the Catacombs in Paris.
Yeah, this one's pretty alright. But yeah, I'd probably just put this one like bottom of A, top of B, maybe. Yeah, So this one has similarly to the part I don't like is that the end of the scenario is beyond your control.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just have to pick and hope, and
Yep.
that's what you get. That being said, all the bits up to it are pretty neat. You're exploring some catacombs, and the further you get into the catacombs, the less comfortable you are with being there. And there's some old men who are there for reasons.
Yeah, and then they turn into monsters.
Yeah, and sometimes they explode into horrible monster guys.
Yeah. I also think that this one's kind of like a fixed concept of the island deck from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it is better than the island deck.
But as we say, that's not that hard.
No. Like getting hit in the eye with a stick, the island deck.
Yeah. I might get hit in the eye
I'm
with a
thinking,
stick. Yeah. Black Stars Rise.
Yeah, Black Stars Rise is pretty solid. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about this one.
Cool.
I'd probably put this one like middle of A.
Sure.
Like, it's good. It's neat. You got, instead of an act and an agenda deck, you have 2 act decks, and you got to pick the right one. But also, if you don't pick the right one, you don't just get gorped for it.
Yeah, it's not.
The scenario is just
you,
like a little harder. But it would also have been harder if you were going through them at the same pace.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So you get to like pick what kind of difficult you want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mostly enjoy this one for the setting.
Yeah, the setting is really nice. I also like the in-joke we have
is cool.
of you pushing dudes out windows
Oh yeah, no, that was fun.
That was a good little in joke
Uh,
that came from this
yeah,
scenario.
if you look at like Google images of the island
Hmm.
that you're supposed to be on, all of the images that all of the artwork that they have for the locations looks like iconic buildings on
Oh,
that
cool.
island,
That's
which
awesome.
is really cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
Uh,
Sweet.
yeah, otherwise it's not like my absolute favorite or anything, but
Hmm.
I'm not like, oh no, I have to.
Yeah, you don't have anything to knock it
Yeah,
for. Yeah.
no, yeah, there's nothing against it.
All right. Dimcarcosa.
Speaking of stupid hard,
Yeah.
sometimes this one is.
Yeah.
Uh, I probably give this one like this is probably like bottom of S tier for me. I do plan. I got to recently play through this one. People who my family members, obviously, because I can't see other um, who had never played it before.
Yeah.
And we got there and they were like, I can't go insane.
Yeah.
And then one of them was like, what do you mean this priest just says he kills me? Well, don't let him hit you.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing when they're like, we can't go
Yeah.
insane. You're like, do you remember the blood pact problem we had?
Yeah, right.
Like, we're going to face a very similar crossroads here.
Yeah, yeah. I do enjoy how this one, like, depending on how you've played the campaign up till now, this one, or like the end of this one feels quite different.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
No.
the rest of it is pretty similar.
I think this is one of the few ones where like Return to Carcosa isn't like too big of a change because Carcosa itself is like one of the best campaigns, if
Yeah.
not the best for the majority of players. But I think the Return to Dimcarcosa is actually a notable improvement over Dimcarcosa. And like Dimcarcosa is already pretty good, but like
Yeah,
where now you get like a show like a one-on-one standoff against Haster and like a final domain is a pretty sweet like flavor feel to it. And does it feel, because it feels different to me, does it feel different to you the fact that you fight Haster versus fighting Yog-Sothoth in Lost in Time and Space?
well, I mean, like Haster's just like a magic guy.
Yeah.
So like theoretically, if I shoot him with a shotgun,
While Yog-Sothoth is a conglomeration of spheres that we can't really fathom or understand.
yeah, right. Like Yog-Sothoth is like an entity that is, past our understanding.
Yeah.
And because of this, like, how the hell could?
Oh, yeah.
But Haster's like, sure, he may be like the mightiest king of Carcosa, but
Yeah.
he is still at his core just like kind of a
Yeah. He's just a big tentacly dude with powers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's got all kinds of sweet magic powers, and like maybe you can't actually kill him, but like you can sure ruin.
Yeah, ruin his day. So for people wondering why that difference actually stands, it's because, like, for lore reason, it makes more sense for the majority of us. I assume this is the same for Travis. All right, Bryn, we're out of Carcosa. We're into the jungles, the untamed wilds.
Man, so the first time you go to the jungle, but like the next fucking 6 times doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Untamed.
All right, Bryn, I'm just going to have you take it one more time. You said the first time in the jungle,
Okay.
and then that's when I lost you, so...
Yeah, the first time that you go to the feels kind of and cool, right? Like you hadn't seen anything quite like this yet. Although I suppose like the Catacombs are like not entirely dissimilar.
Yeah.
But then you go back over and over again.
And we aren't even in
stops
Heart of
feeling
the Elders yet. This is just the first foyer into the jungle.
The first, I do the part of the first one that I do enjoy is cementing himself as
Oh, yeah.
the horrible villain of the piece.
Yeah, Alejandro, yeah.
Yeah, I would probably give this one like mid B.
Maybe.
Like it's
sweet.
not the worst time that I've ever spent in the jungle. And I think it does do a reasonable job of introducing all the characters that they want to be a part of the story.
Yeah, it is
And,
actually a pretty. I agree. It's a really
solid
good
beginning.
storytelling one.
Yeah. That being said, playing it is really hard.
Yeah. I have a distinct memory of when we played this and we finished it, and I was just thinking, like, do we suck? Like, are we bad?
Yeah.
And the answer is always yes, but like, it went really bad our first time through.
It is really tough to get like the best ending out of this one. There's several different okay endings, and they're not that hard. Like, you'll need things to go your way a little bit, and you won't get there unless your decks are pretty okay.
Yeah.
But
all right.
no, I think as a storytelling device, this one is pretty okay.
Sweet. What about the Doom of Etzli?
This is like the first cave one.
Yes, yeah, and this is when you're in the temple, and then you have to escape it when it all comes out, goes backwards, and you play I'm out of here for that reason.
Yeah, so the part of this that I enjoy is the sort of if any of you have ever seen from
Oh, sorry, you cut out of there again.
Oh, sorry, I was saying if the Tarantino movie.
Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn, yeah.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
This one's got that down. It's pretty okay. This one's probably like B for me.
Cool.
Like there's not really like a whole lot going on here, and it is real easy to cheese this scenario.
Oh yeah, the resolution.
Yeah, to like there's a whole bit at the end where the temple rearranges itself, and you have to go back the way you came through every location that you have been through so far. But it's real easy to cheat that, and they give you like a reasonable amount to do it. So you probably could do it without cheesing it, but like, you know, if you've got an I'm out of here,
yeah, you might as well
an
just
astral travel, or you know,
especially like when there's the dumb Harbinger of Elusia who's standing in the way, and you can just be like, "See ya," and jump through a portal.
Yeah, this one ranks lower to me than the Untamed Wilds, because they introduce the Harbinger of Elusia, and they're like, this guy's gonna be big, he's gonna chase you through the whole campaign, and you're like, he's not.
Yeah,
he doesn't matter.
Did you want a specific play? I thought you said B tier. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I would probably bottom of B tier.
Cool.
Like, it's not bad,
but it's not great.
But it is not amazing either.
Sweet. Threads of Fate.
I like any of the encounter sets that happen in ARKHAM.
Ditto.
So I would probably put this one someplace in the A tier. Probably above Blood on the Altar and Essex Express. This one you're running around ARKHAM trying to figure out, you know, what's happened to Harlan, because you care about Harlan.
Yeah, he's always the one we get first, always.
Well, you care about Harlan.
Yeah.
Ishtaka is just some lady you met in the... Sure, she's got some striking yellow eyes.
Yeah. And then...
You met her a week ago.
And then if Alejandro gets sucked up by a Night Gaunt, you're just like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, like, I actually kind of don't mind if Alejandro just gets the crap beat out of him. Like, I'll save him if there's time, because it's worth XP.
Yeah.
But, no, this one's pretty neat.
I do want to say, I'm sure Bryn and I are both going to addendum our previous statement where we like any of the scenarios where the ARKHAM is the encounter set, because we do have Clutches of Chaos waiting for us. But
look, I like playing this game.
Yeah.
I don't like playing
I'm sure Bryn will have some things to say in the Clutches of Chaos one, like I did. Boundary Beyond.
This one I think is just like a little bit too hard
Mhm.
for what it is.
Yeah.
It is part of what is wrong with Heart of the Elders, which I'll explain about in a minute. Although, like I do like the alternate timeline versions of locations, and
Yeah, that's neat.
that kind of stuff is pretty cool. I'd probably put this one like top of the C tier. Like, I think there's not
It's a tricky one because
yeah.
sometimes it just plays you, right? Like sometimes you're like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
done.
I've definitely walked out of this one with 0 pillars
Yeah.
and been like, cool, for the next 6 weeks.
Well, you know what? Let's
I know
speaking
what I'm
of Heart of the Elders.
Yeah. Yeah, so like the Boundary Beyond is like largely unremarkable.
Yeah.
It does have some cool bits to it. But otherwise it's pretty much just more Arkham.
Yeah.
The part that I am complaining about that I think is a little too hard is how difficult it is to get pillars in the Boundary Beyond, which matters for the Heart of the Elders Part 1, in which you have to finish 6 pillars before you're allowed to move to Heart of the Elders Part 2. But you probably only have 1, maybe 2 from the Boundary Beyond because they're really hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably playing the scenario somewhere between 2 and 4 times. And does it change? Not really. You just kind of sit down and do the same thing again, over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching our draft challenge,
I think actually the first episodes start this Friday. This Friday will be our draft challenge first Part of the Elders. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you want to watch one of those, probably any one of them, except the last one, you can see what part of what we think is wrong, what I think is wrong with this scenario.
I think a big thing that happens with Heart of the Elders is it kind of like you kind of get frustrated with it because you're like, why am I playing this dumb scenario again? So then you start like speeding through, and then you end up playing, you rush and you play things incorrectly, you miss things because you're just like, I am sick and tired of being here. But because you only get experience on one of them, but your trauma and anything else carries through, like being poisoned, for example, you have to play them, right? Because
it does. The one good thing that it has going for it, I will put this one above Undimensioned and Unseen, but still in the D tier, is that it is a solid place to take out any frustration you being able to kill vipers and constrictors and the other snakes in the game, because your vengeance does not carry over until the last time you play.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So you get you can just like run through and beat the crap out of some of those snakes.
Take that, you stupid snake.
I am just gonna go grab some water.
Sure, I will pause the recording. All right, Bryn, Heart of the Elders Part 2.
You only got to play this one.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not as good of a scenario as it might feel like after coming off, playing Heart of the Elders Part 1 like 6 times, but like it's not awful. This one is like Caves Part 2.
Yeah.
It does use different locations though, which really helps give it a different feel than Caves Part 1.
For reference, Caves Part 1 is Doom of Etsley for anyone who's like, what's that? And yeah, actually, like Untamed Wilds and Heart of the Elders like use like pretty much the exact same encounters.
They use the exact sets. Heart of the Elders is basically like playing the Untamed Wilds, only you don't have to finish and nothing matters.
Yeah.
Heart of the Elders Part 2, I'll probably put this one like right around the Doom of Etsley, honestly. Like, it's not that different of a scenario, but it does use different cards. And, like, feels different.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember it too much either.
Yeah, it does feel very similar to the Doom of Etsley.
Yeah.
But less, it's less samey as Untamed Wilds Heart of the Elders Part 1.
I mean, we're going to be
Not much.
recording this on Wednesday, so I'm excited to get back into and remember. It's like, oh yeah, the Harbinger of Elusia shows up here.
It shows up most places.
He does.
Unless you kill it, but why would you?
Yeah, why would you? The City of Archives. We become Yithians.
I'd give this one probably like either top of A plus. Yeah, we're gonna give this one top of A plus. I bet everybody else is gonna put this one somewhere in their S tier.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the best scenario in this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, every time I play it, the Yithians are like, "What kind of cool stuff you got in your pockets?" And they take all my cool toys, and then I don't get to play with them in that scenario.
I think I said this in my review, my tier list, but this one is like a scenario not made for you and made for me with how we like to build our decks.
Yeah. That's largely why I'm docking this one like the half point or whatever from the S2.
Yeah.
It's because they take all my cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that.
No, I don't blame you. I want to play with my lucky dice or whatever else they take from me. I don't even know what you put in your deck.
Man, the first time I played this one, I was playing relics in my deck. I got to play with like nothing I spent XP on that run.
Incredible, yeah.
And so that kind of sucked.
Yeah, they don't even give it back to you until the end, right?
Yeah, you get it back.
Yeah, but like not till
afterwards.
like.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Once you've cleared the scenario, it is really cool. Like the Unspeakable Oath, there is a risk that one of your teammates may not be coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly multiples of your teammates may not be coming back.
Do you think any one of us is going to stay a Yithian in our draft challenge?
You know, if it's going to happen to me one time, I wouldn't mind it being this time.
Yeah.
Because, it's the draft challenge. It's a garbage fire already.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about the City of Archives?
Not really, I don't think.
Cool. All right, let's go to the Depths of Yoth.
All right, so this one is Caves Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
Part 3, you say? Surprised. Yes, there are 3 different caves parts in this campaign.
Yeah.
They do all feel more or less the same. However, this one has an interesting depth mechanic where you're delving as far into the cave as you can. And there are enemies chasing you.
Mm-hmm.
And they get moved to a special pursuit area that is... the rules will explain it better than I will. But basically, they sit there, and there are encounter cards that reference different types of enemies that might be chasing you, and if they are, maybe they caught you right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the scenario with the Yig fight in it, which is different to every other scenario. Where usually, the Ancient One shows up in the last scenario, and only in the last scenario. In this one, he shows up in the penultimate scenario and not the last one, which is kind of neat. Yig is also one that I don't feel... It doesn't feel weird if the game's like, do you have a machine gun?
Yeah.
Would you like to try to kill him? He's a big snake dude. Maybe bullets might work. No, I think actually right where this one is right now.
Perfect. I nailed it.
It is better than Caves Part 1 or Caves Part 2.
Yeah.
By quite a bit.
It also, to me, kind of feels like a fixed Heart of the Elders, because you kind of are doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like you are.
No, because you've got multiple locations and you're not seeing the same ones every cycle.
Yeah.
Necessarily. Obviously you could, because that's how random works, but
Mm-hmm. And there's also
you're usually seeing different ones.
And you're not just redoing the whole thing again, so the tension stays building as you go from beginning to end.
Yeah.
All right, Shattered Aeons.
I may have played this scenario more than I've played any other scenario. It's possible.
Yeah.
Not because you have to play it over and over again. It has nothing to do with it. We were playing a run once where we were trying to get the perfect ending to this campaign, and it turns out it's really hard.
Yeah.
So there are things that I don't like about this scenario. Mostly the fact that like once you've moved into a location, you can never go. Well, you can go back, but it starts to hurt real bad.
Yeah.
And that makes the game it just makes the gameplay itself feel a little awkward. Which is unfortunate because the rest of the encounter is really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in this one.
Yeah. Where like there's part of the end game where you have to run around and attach locations to the Relic of Ages. Yeah, you remember the MacGuffin you were chasing around that never really mattered before this? Yeah, that thing.
It does. Ooh.
Yeah, and you get to go to all kinds of cool places that are iconic from the lore. I'd probably put this one like between Black Star's Rise and Threads of Fate, maybe. Like I think the cool parts of it are really cool.
Cool.
And the not cool parts are just kind of like vaguely annoying and slightly frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Oh, Bryn, are you ready to give something a D? Disappearance of the Twilight Estate.
Is this the prelude scenario?
Yes, this is the prelude scenario.
Oh yeah, okay, no, dump that right in the bottom.
All right.
Yeah, no, this one it's a really cool idea, and I wish it mattered more, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll fix that in the Return to box. Maybe.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that.
Someone.
The next time that we play through this, I fully intend to print out all of the cards that belong, like proxies of all the cards that belong in their decks, and then you can just sit down and do it. You don't need to go through the collection and pull out all the cards that are.
Someone released a randomizer for it on the subreddit, and I usually have just randomized our results for it, but now having the one that I can just press a button and it tells me what to write down, I'm like, that's nice.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
All right. The Witching Hour.
I don't know that there's a scenario. There's a campaign that has a more difficult scenario one.
It is very hard.
Yeah, this one is real hard. It's kind of neat. Like we get you're running around a mansion that you've.
Oh no, this isn't the mansion. This is the forest with the witches.
Is this the forest with the witches?
Yeah.
I thought that was part 2.
No, that's part 1.
Oh, okay. The forest with the witches. The forest with the.
Is what, sorry?
The forest with the witches is kind of not good.
Yeah. It also is difficult too, though. Like the box. I think this is the hardest deluxe box scenarios.
Yeah, I'll put this one like. Yeah, I guess it can just sit there.
Cool. This one, At Death's Doorstep, is the one with the mansion.
Yeah. Anyway, the reason I dislike the Witching Hour, at the beginning you get split off from all your friends, and you probably all build decks that are specialized towards doing one thing, and most of you kind of just get to sit there and wait while somebody else tries to solve them. At Death's Doorstep, you get to sneak into a silver. Well, I mean, like not really sneak in. You're technically on the guest list, I suppose, to a Silver Twilight mansion. And there's kind of a party going on. Kind of. Anyway, you're not really supposed to be there, and you get to run around and do stuff in the first half, and then in the second half they're like, surprise, the mansion's haunted.
Boo!
And everything sucks now. And you got to try and help these Silver Twilight guys get out of here. And you're like, I don't like the Silver Twilight guys, but the game says you got to try. It is kind of neat. I'll probably put this one above the Gathering for sure.
Sweet. All right.
This one is like really hard though.
It is very hard. I think our this one actually, the blind playthrough of this one hurt us more than both of, maybe not the Doom of Betsley because we got eliminated from it. We died our first time through, but that's a pretty rough. That's a pretty rough first go. The secret name. We're in Rat City. How many times can we kill Brown Jenkins?
Brown Jenkins, I'm calling you out. No, I quite like this one. I think this one is like an A+ for me.
Mm-hmm.
This scenario, you go to the unnameable.
Oh no, the witch house. The witch house.
Houses.
Yeah, you just go to one of the houses in Arkham.
Yeah. That's my bad. But anyway, there's a witch in the witch house, and she's got a rat with a man's face.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows up, and you beat the crap out of him over and over.
Oh yeah.
And then once you get halfway through the scenario, you feel like you're. But it's completely different.
Yeah.
And not like any of the. Well, it's got some passing similarities to the. Four rats are still a pain in the ass to kill, and there still is a rat with a man's face.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like entirely different to the first half.
Mm-hmm.
But it also doesn't feel. This is probably one of the longer scenarios in the game, playtime wise, and it doesn't really feel like a slog.
Yeah.
It's just kind of neat all the way through.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have a place you want to put this guy, or is he looking okay?
Oh yeah, no. I think like I enjoy this one. I fully expect Trevor while screeching about killing Brown Jenkins. But yeah, I think this one's fine here. Like,
yeah,
the stuff above it I think is mostly better.
Cool. All right, the Wages of Sin. This is the one with those heretics you need to escort around the map.
All right. I think this is a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
However, having said that, do not enjoy the execution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This one's probably in the C tier someplace. Probably around boundary beyond. Put it between there and extracurricular.
I just had the worst run in the Wages of Sin. It just my dumb alphabet challenge I'm doing, which makes sense. When you only can use one card of each letter of the alphabet, your deck sucks. But
that's fair.
It just I was doing like really well, and then like in one turn, it just slipped away from me completely, and I'm just very bitter about this scenario right now. So
yeah, so the thing I don't like about this run around collect these heretics by defeating them in Mortal Kombat,
mm-hmm.
and then once you have, they flip over on their. I need you to go find my bones in the graveyard. Might have found a heretic,
but your bones are all the way on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and then you got to go run all the way back over, but also the entire time jabbing you in the back, like, go faster, find my bones.
Yeah.
Or I'll hit you.
Like,
but
you go.
Yeah, sorry. I don't. That is mostly the part of this that I don't like. Is this you got to across the map.
Yeah, because there can be a deal where you just somehow get lucky and every witch is right where they need to be, right?
Yeah.
And then you can get some where like you're like, oh, we're gonna get one heretic this way. That's unfortunate, just because of the way it flopped, right?
Yeah, like there are also there's 6 heretics in total. You play with only 4 of them, so you don't actually know which ones are in play.
Yeah.
So you can't even do that.
And then
That
like
being said,
there's it allows you to look at the back of them and it says ignore the side, but apparently there's one when you look on the back of it,
yep.
it attacks you anyway. So
Yeah, there is one that when you look at the back, it attacks you, and then I think if you look at the back a second time, you can just pay the to add it to the victory display.
Yeah, yeah.
That one's kind of neat. There's one that you just have to fight twice because he's really.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Very stubborn.
Yeah, like the idea of this one is really. I think the execution, like it feels a little awkward.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to play through it.
All right, we're Silver Twilight Lodge again for the greater good.
For the greater good.
And this is the one with that beast that sometimes shows up, and then sometimes. The first time through we nailed it, and then every other time this damn dog has shown up and tried to kill us.
Yeah, I do think this one mostly nails. Like its flavor.
Yeah.
Where you're breaking into Silver Twilight, one of their estates, and you're trying to sneak around the place and find out what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
So like if you fight guys, it makes a bunch of noise. You have to add doom because the other members of the Silver Twilight Lodge might have heard you. Yeah, like it's pretty okay. This one's probably an A tier scenario for me. Like it does feel like you're doing the thing they want.
Yeah.
Where you're like sneaking around and you can evade guys to take the doom off them, so you're sneaky enough. They have no idea you're there. It's just pretty good though.
Yeah, where do you want to put it?
This one can probably sit just above Essex County Express.
Cool.
I think.
All right. Union and Dissolution. This is the one where you have to go on the island, on the Unvisited Isle, and light the braziers. Or braziers. If you're feeling not naughty.
This one will punish you very severely for not having a diverse team. As we discovered when we tried to play it with all mystics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is, to me, a fairly unremarkable scenario.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. I do enjoy playing the game, and there's not much to complain about. But there's also not really very much that's cool about this one, except for the one part of the game where they're like, make an all skills test. Press. I get 4 against 20, hey?
Yeah. Oh man, this one would be awful with Preston Fairmont.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually just can't do anything.
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that.
No, I would put this one right around extra. It's just vaguely unremarkable.
Yeah. All right, Bryn, I'll get this down here ready for you.
Yeah, okay, so if you've watched Justin's tier list and you're gonna watch Travis's tier list, you complain about this one 3 times. Which is kind of cool, I guess. I know I said that I enjoy the ones that have the Arkham City encounter sets to them. But I want to play Arkham Horror, the card game, and not whatever the hell different game they have you playing in this scenario. They're like, do you want to play Pandemic? And I'm, no, because I didn't sit down and take Pandemic out of the box. Like, if I want to play Pandemic, I can play Pandemic. This scenario basically just punishes you.
I assume you said punishes you for just playing Arkham Horror, right?
Yeah, it punishes you for playing your cards instead of discarding them to its esoteric effects.
Yeah.
And like not spending your money on its stupid effects, and So like it kind of just doesn't want you to play the game,
Yeah.
and I don't like that.
Have you ever, when you've played it with yourself or others, have you ever actually won it? Because we've never won it on the channel.
No.
Yeah.
Largely because I'm often trying to play the game,
Yeah.
and this is probably wrong.
The best game I've had for In the Clutches of Chaos was in Hermano Mystics when I was Jim, and I just didn't do anything except get rid of the portals or whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think this one suffers great. Probably the most effective way to play it is to have one person gear up to play the game normally, while everyone else just runs around throwing away all their.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Here's my spicy question. Do you like it more? Because I put it here naturally because that's like where I put mine. Do you like it more or less than the disappearance of the Twilight Estate?
So the first time through, the disappearance of the Twilight Estate was really cool.
Yeah.
Every other time after that, it's felt like a time because I know it's not going to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I would probably put it, like one above one. I think that's just about perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the devourer below also kind of asks you not to play the game, but then at the end, it's like, hey, you want to, I don't know, three or four turns. This one's just like, hey, you would never want to play the game now. Disappearance of the Twilight Estate is like time.
Yeah. And I mean, like, really, in all fairness, Disappearance of the Twilight Estate really also like shouldn't be on this list, right?
Yeah, it is not a proper scenario, but
yeah, but I put it on here, so that's how it is.
Yeah. It deserves to be on here more than the Innsmouth ones that I haven't played or the standalones that I haven't played.
Yeah, it's
So
like,
anyway,
wait, just you wait, Bryn. We're gonna be ranking all the Innsmouth ones too, so buckle up.
Yeah, I'm gonna. If we were, I would.
Yeah.
A tier below D that says that I haven't played them and have no idea.
Yeah. The title of this one seems good, so I'm gonna give it an A tier.
Yeah, it seems cool.
All right, let's go Before the Black Throne.
All right, this one's like way up at the tippy top.
Yeah, it's a good one.
This one is good. Similarly to Lost in Time and Space, you're kind of just rolling around space on like a Byakhee or something like that. Might be a Night Gaunt, I forget the specifics of the scenario. But you're trying to stop Azathoth's worshippers from waking him up. And if you don't, you die. And everyone dies.
Yeah, literally everyone.
I do think this one's base map part is like a little bit worse than Lost in Time. Or maybe not much better, but like better. I think this one's like about as good as Dimcarcosa to me.
Okay.
So cool. Like I'm not particular about which order they go in. This one does have a cosmic bicycle that you can ride around.
You do love that cosmic bicycle. I remember that.
That's pretty cool. But I think one of my favorite parts about this one is that you can. There is nothing you are allowed to do that he has to ever care about. And I think that's like a great feel for most of ones.
Yeah, because like in a lot of the other ones, the ancient one you're kind of like directly going up against, and with Azathoth you're kind of just like hoping he doesn't see you, right?
Yeah, fingers crossed. I don't have to.
Yeah, I don't have to look at his dumb coin.
Yeah. He's like, "Do you want the coin?" And you're like, "No," and then he slaps you.
Yeah, and it hurts. It's
like
3 and
really
3.
hard.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's nearly cut my head off.
Yeah.
All right, we are on to the last cycle that we have played fully. Just a reminder for everyone who might be watching, the reason why Innsmouth isn't here is because we haven't played them. You guys haven't played them at all either, right?
Nope.
Yeah, we're waiting to play them together in person, which hopefully should be happening pretty soon. So let's do this here, Bryn, Beyond the Gates of Sleep. You first got to impress 2 brothers by arm wrestling one and convincing the other one that you're Well, the true weapon is your brain?
So I fairly recently played this one with my family,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was pretty much like we showed up. My brother was parlaying with one of them, and I forget. I think he was playing Agnes.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I guess he flips the card over and he's reading it. It's like, show me your weapon. He's like, well, I got a shriveling. He's like, no, that's not a weapon. No, this one's pretty high tier.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I'd probably put this one like between Last King and Black Star's Rise, I think.
Sweet.
Uh, it's got a lot of cool things going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're wandering through the dreamlands, and the two brothers tell you not to stray from the path. But then when you get into the Enchanted Woods, you get to look at it and try to figure out whether math says you could ever possibly win the game without straying from the path. And the answer is probably no.
Yeah, probably.
And even if it's not no, you miss almost all of the game if you don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that.
Sweet. Waking Nightmare.
Yeah, this one does also Game of Pandemic
Mm-hmm.
towards the end. However, it's a game of Pandemic that I'm allowed to play the stupid game in.
Yeah, yeah.
They aren't telling me, like, throw away all your actions and your eyes. No, they're just, infested places are worse, and you're going to have to get them all.
Yeah, they spread. It also allows you to, like, actually make decisions of, like, where you want them to go in some places to, like, create a perfect choke point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This scenario is just, like, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel, for the most part, the Dreamers is better than the Waking side.
I agree with that.
For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
The Waking side is also easier. Whether that has anything to do with it, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this one's probably pretty fine someplace in the B tier. Like it could be bottom of A tier, or even probably like it could be bottom of A tier.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, like it's a solid part of the game. Sometimes you get to take a wheelchair down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
It's pretty all right.
Yeah, definitely. The Search for Kadath.
So there are two scenarios on the Dreamer side that
Oh, sorry, I lost you there. They're on the Dreamer side that are...
that I wish had a little more time to them.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of them. I probably put this one near the top of A. Probably past the City of Archives, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, this one's really cool. You're just cruising around the Dreamlands looking for signs of the gods.
Heck yeah.
Because nobody knows where Kadath is, or if they do, they aren't telling you. I do wish that there was enough time to actually all of the locations instead of like 3-ish of them.
Yeah, and then if they like took some of the experience away, so yeah.
Dial back the rewards a little bit. Yeah, this one is one of the few scenarios where it feels like I haven't got everything done that I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I just kind of want to flip the rest of the locations.
I just want to look at them and explore them. Yeah. I like. I mean, that one. I've been very vocal. I love that one a lot. So
it is pretty good.
All right, 1,000 Shapes of Horror. This one you go in the unnameable.
That's right.
Just some abandoned house in Arkham.
Yeah.
There's weird ones all over the place.
Why the city council allows that? I'll never know.
Yeah. They really
it
think they
drives
just like
property values down.
Yeah, remove the unnamed. There's a building in Art City called the Unnameable. We should get rid of it.
Get whatever kind of priests you have to in here to.
Yeah, and then just tear it the F down.
Yeah. This one's pretty alright. I'd probably put this one like top of B tier.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not my favorite. It's pretty okay though.
Yeah.
You kind of just cruise through the house and go around flicking all the switches that make the unnameable into a baby, and then
And then you're like, all right, let's get out of here.
he shows up and he's like, "You must fight me," and you're like, "All right, baby."
And you gotta walk down those stairs at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you walk down the flight of stairs, which is either the easiest thing you've ever done or intensely frustrating.
Yes, there is no middle ground.
There is no middle ground.
Dark Side of the Moon. This is the one where you go in and then out, and then there's the moon lizard, right? Yeah, yeah.
So I would like to take this opportunity to let you guys know that every time we've played this one for this channel, I have suggested that we play an intro of Pink Floyd music. This has been vetoed like every time for copyright reasons or something. I don't.
Yeah, no, it's really true. I am the bad guy, so like, yeah, that's on me. That's on me. That's not a Travis thing. That's a Justin thing.
This one does also fall into the category of scenarios that Bryn does not get out of. It's just the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really solid scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one's like high A tier, maybe plus tier for me.
Mm-hmm.
This one also, I wish there were a few more ways to interact with your alarm level or like cards that cared about it.
Yeah.
I think that would be neat. The ones that there are kind of cool. I don't really have too much else to say about this one. I guess like this one has the white ship and you get to fight a moon lizard in the middle of the moon. And
yeah. And as you said,
every time I've played this one for the first time with anybody, they always say something about what the light side is just the same as the other. Like, yeah, it's just the other side of the moon. It's just.
And then you just tap head and you go.
Yeah, like you can see on this one. That's the difference.
Point of No Return. This is the one with the Ghoul Gang.
Ghoul Gang is sick. The rest of the encounter is like not as cool as the Ghoul Gang.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say that. I will say that. Yeah, I think it's either there or it's like top of B. I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
There are some neat things about this one. I hate how the stupid dole can come out of the victory display.
Yeah.
Once I've put you in the victory display, that should be where you live now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. I do really love how if your name is ARKHAM, you are the best Ghoul Gang boss that has ever been.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't mind if I just get 2 members of my Ghoul Gang or fight like a machine.
Yeah. You walk up and there's a dole. And
oh,
you're like, get them, boys.
I haven't played Ashcan in forever. I should do this for the companion side and do that. That'd be fun. It's a good idea.
Yeah. It's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Where the Gods Dwell.
This is the other scenario that I wish had a little more time to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I've ever played this one, I think the last agenda or the last act is like 9 doom, but it's not. It's only 5.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 feels like about the appropriate amount of time that it should take to finish this scenario. And instead, you're usually just, holding on to your socks and trying not to die.
Yeah.
And that's what you got. And if you try to get the true ending, that's too bad because you probably had only a turn left to do it.
Yeah, it's very hard to get the true ending, and then yeah.
I suppose you might be able every time I've played it, I feel like something's gone pretty poorly in the first half of the scenario, and like maybe a turn could have been made up there. But even so, like it's not a lot of time.
Yeah, because you got to go and push that dude into the pit, and like that requires a lot of resources.
Yeah, you got to push him into the pit or shoot him with a gun.
Yeah,
whichever appeals to you.
and then like maybe you have enough whatever you have to collect in this, like what is it called again? Like pieces of the gods or something like that? I don't remember.
Yeah, signs of the gods.
Yes, yeah. And like that can really help you. Like maybe you can get enough to like get through the door in like 1 or 2 actions, or maybe 0 if you're somehow really lucky. I don't even know if it's possible, but yeah, I agree. It's kind of like you're a little bit swamped for time.
Yeah, like I would appreciate just like a little bit more, or even the last scenario being like, or the last act. You know, flipping like the other ones do, and then doing something horrible to you and flipping back.
Yeah.
With like half of its doom on it, or something like that. So like, sure, you technically get extra time, but it's going to be real tough.
Yeah.
Because it should be a difficult fight, and I do enjoy the flavor of fighting Nyarlathotep. Like you don't know where he is, you don't know anything about him really.
Yeah. And he's
just kind of showing up and struggling to get the job done.
I do have to say though, I really enjoyed my Gloria run where I had 9 weaknesses in my hand. That was pretty wild. Where do you want to put it?
Like this one is pretty solid in terms of final scenarios. It is difficult, but not like to the point of frustration, unless, similarly to Shattered Aeons, you are trying to get the true proper ending.
Yeah.
In which case it becomes very, very difficult. So I think this one can probably sit at like the bottom of the A+ tier for me.
Sweet.
This one is, I think it does a very good job of being the end, that side of the campaign.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Weaver of the Cosmos.
Atlach-Nacha is a little bitch.
Yeah, she is, isn't she?
that's what I got to say about this one.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get unlucky with the spiders, and sometimes you're unlucky with anything ever again, because the spiders are right where you want them when you want them to be there.
Yeah.
Like this one was much more difficult the first time we played through it than it has been on subsequent playthroughs, because we know what to expect and what is going to have to happen and what the potential problems are going to be. And when you know all of these things, this scenario becomes quite easy. Sure, sometimes if you get unlucky with an Atlach-Nacha spin, you might end up struggling for time at the end, but if you don't, it's not that tough.
Yeah, you're in a pretty good place.
Yeah. I think this one can be like top of B for me, I think.
Sweet.
Like in terms of final scenario, is not quite as difficult as I'd like.
Yeah. All right, we got some side scenarios to talk about. This is actually really fresh. We played this one today. We recorded a Curse of the Rougarou.
The Curse of the Rougarou is like stupid hard.
It's very hard. I don't remember it being that hard.
Yeah. So, on the one hand, I really enjoy the game being difficult. Because if I'm playing a cooperative game and it is not difficult to win, why did I show up?
Yeah.
Like, I could have been doing literally anything else. That being said, this was like really hard. Which is, it's good that the game has pieces like that. That's what you're about. You can go chase that down.
Yeah.
However, I would never buy this into a campaign.
No. You're walking away with trauma. I mean, we were playing with our joke decks from our deck building series, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, like I would possibly try to convince my teammates to play it if I was lead investigator and also Preston Fairmont. Calvin,
Mm-hmm.
because becoming the Rougarou is sick
Oh yeah.
for either of
Albeit,
them.
when you play in a campaign, you don't use the hard standalone bag, which has two
No, this is
-4s,
true.
a -5, and a -6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you just use your campaign bag. But I think like mid B tier is pretty solid for this one. Like, it's fine, and I mean, it's really funny that there's, but
This art now also terrifies me. Because this Mythos card is just like the scary
it
one.
is a beating.
Yeah.
At its best, it's Ancient Evils,
Yeah, that is that is it at its best.
and sometimes it's worse.
Yeah. Carnival of Horrors.
I really like this one. I think this one strikes a very solid balance between difficulty and, like, you know, winnability, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So like this one I would consider buying into campaign. Assuming that I could convince either of the other two, who are both very firmly set against this, to do so.
You could probably convince me. It's Travis that we have to break through.
It is Travis, and it is often like his encounter.
Yeah, yeah.
So he'll just be like, I didn't bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Carnivale gets like high A, maybe low A plus tier for me. This one feels fun. It's got a unique play style to it, where you got to run around the ring and
Yeah.
try to collect people who aren't cultists, ideally. Put them in the church.
Yeah, I'm excited to replay this one with the next wave of our joke decks.
Yeah, it's got a lot of neat stuff going for it.
Yeah.
And the campaign rewards, well, they may not be, like, they're no Kopesh of the Abyss.
Yeah.
Say that, but not much is. They are still pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Labyrinths of Lunacy.
I kind of don't like this one.
Yeah. Ditto.
That being said, I've never played it with the multiple play groups that they say that it was designed for.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly might never get around to it.
Yeah.
I would put this one probably below the House Always Wins, maybe between the House Always Wins and Extra Curriculum. It's just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, maybe if you play it with multiple groups, it might be better, but I don't see that happening in the short term.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
the Eternal Slumber.
This one, like the Rougarou, is stupid hard.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the Rougarou, there's the light at the end of the tunnel that maybe you get the Kopesh of the Abyss. Maybe. I'd probably put this one above the Essex County Express, probably. It's like, it is, well, okay, it seems like it's really hard until because this one is a two-part standalone.
Yeah, here, let's grab the other guy too then.
And part 2 is like actually very, very hard. I have rarely made it past Agenda 1.
Whoa, man, I don't even remember this one. That's like, so for my tier list, I just was like, I put it next to Eternal Slumber because I'm like, it's probably close enough, but
yeah, I mean, like, I feel like grading them is they are very similar.
Yeah.
And this is the one that's really hard because, so like, you start the game with a huge enemy in play who's like really hard to hurt, and you know, the deck is full of more bullshit that is really hard to deal with. That being said, this is probably my favorite standalone at the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
There are several that I haven't played, but yeah, I'd probably put the Knight's Usurper in this, like, right next to the Eternal Slumber. That's
sweet.
They do feel like a like the natural continuation of one into the next.
Yeah.
They could theoretically be a single scenario if the designers weren't worried about a single scenario taking a shower.
Yeah. All right, last
Though it might
one,
be
Bryn.
significantly shorter.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No worries. I was just saying it might be significant.
Yeah. Too lethal. Murder at the Excelsior Express Hotel, not Express.
Murder on the Excelsior Express. This one I think gets the this scenario, it has some of the greatest replay value in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first half is always pretty similar, but
Yeah.
the second half, yeah, it's anybody's bet what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I put this one in the bottom of S tier, I think.
Cool.
Of the standalones that I don't have, this is the only one that I actually. You could play this one so many times before you would start to get bored of it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sick list. There actually is there's not too much crossover between yours and mine. There's some things that are, I mean, I think the only thing you and I actually have like 100% in common is our bottom two are the same and our number one is the same, the Unspeakable Oath.
Yeah, no, I do really like that one. Even if I don't survive it all the time.
It's a good scenario, yeah.
It is a good scenario.
So sick. Well, everyone watching at home, I hope you enjoyed Bryn's tier list. You can leave comments down below, please. We'd love to read them. And we will be doing Travis's in the future in a similar format where it's going to be him and I. I'll just be asking him and he'll be talking and I'll be going, oh yeah. Or I'll be saying like our one-liners like, oh, Charlie Kane, Vampire Hunter. You know, I'm just a soundboard for it.
Charlie Kane, Vampire Hunter.
We will be doing Innsmouth in the near future. In a perfect world, I would love to start uploading those episodes in like July, but realistically, it probably is going to be August. And then when that's done, we're going to do our player card reviews and our scenario reviews for that as well. So there is a lot of new content coming to our channel in the near future. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.